What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Bring the Thunder podcast. Today we have myself, Gabe, we got Capers, Joe, and Savir, as we're going to kind of break down here a bit of a preview for the next game, for game 2. But first, we've now been able to all kind of, have a day off, kind of get our heads straight and look over what happened. So let's do a little bit of a recap here. Let's start off just kind of talking about what went wrong. So yeah, if anybody wants to take over, what went wrong? Savir, I definitely want to hear from you. What are you thinking?
Oh man. I feel like what went wrong, J-Dub, Chet, Kaysen, the guys that we started in the starting lineup didn't show up the way we needed them to.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing was in the second half, they outcompeted us. I mean, it came down to like not overanalyzing the game. Like we don't have to talk too much X's and O's or stats or anything. Like we can mention a lot of them, but the main thing was they out-rebounded, out-hustled, got to every loose ball, and essentially outcompeted us also on the offensive floor. Yeah. And their defense held their own enough to where their offense eventually picked up. And that's been their game plan this whole playoffs. And I heard their coach in the first quarter, I believe, when they were absolutely getting rocked by us, he was like, hold steady. This is our game plan. This is our process. That's exactly what he mentioned to them. Our process will win this game. And the belief he has instilled in this team to follow their game plan is, similar to the Mavericks run that they had with Dirk, where they had a game plan, they had a way to execute, and they execute. And you have to figure out ways not to just disrupt it for 2 quarters. You have to do it for full 4 quarters. And we just didn't keep the same pace and intensity. We let them get a little bit of hope each quarter, and they clawed themselves back. And they made some good adjustments with adding more ball handlers around Tyrese. I feel like that was the reason they were getting a lot of turnovers. I feel like that adjustment is going to be made a lot earlier next game, so we're going to get a lot less turnovers on them. And it's going to be one on the boards, on the hustle metrics. I feel like the rest of these games are just going to be close. Maybe we'll get one blowout from either team or something, but I feel like both teams know exactly what the other is trying to do, especially after seeing this first game. Everyone expecting us to blow them out, win this handily. And we saw that this Pacers team is way better than advertised. And I think that's been the case for the NBA. The lack of coverage for both small market teams doesn't really show the casuals like what both teams are made of. And we saw what both teams are made of. They've got championship DNA both ways. I feel like small plays are going to make this series. And we're going to have to lock in terms of our intensity, focus. And you can't come out flat against this team. I'm glad this was one of our first games in this whole playoff run where we had a really good start.
I hate to break it to you, but if you're expecting the rest of these games to be close, we're not winning this series because Indiana is the best team in the clutch. They've shown that. They've been in so many clutch games where OKC has, they have a few under their belt, but not as many as Indiana. And Indiana's proved time and time again that if it comes down to a clutch situation scenario, they're going to win the game no matter what. So we're going to have to stay away from those. And I think, OKC's more than capable of blowing this team out a few, 3 games, 2 games. They're going to have to win 2 that are close. But if they're coming down to the last 2 minutes, as much as I think OKC's the better team, and nobody can touch Indiana in those last 2 minutes of the game, especially Haliburton.
No, they can't.
For me, what went wrong was we lost the second half by 13 points and lost the game by 1. They let their foot off the gas. They kind of just lost track of, they went up 15 with 9 minutes left, and then it was Indiana's game. So I don't put too much on game 1. It sucks losing at home. It sucks losing in that fashion. But if we keep a similar game plan and just instead of letting them hover around 12 points the whole game, just like when you hit that little stretch, what OKC does is they'll end up blowing this team out.
Yeah.
Just keep going. they make a few shots here and there, they're gonna win by double digits. So for game 2, dominance.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying for sure. To me, it's less of letting our foot off the gas and more of losing that mentality to push harder. I don't think we necessarily let off the gas and almost like, I don't want to use the word give up, but back down. And it was more of less aggression. I mean, no one looked like they wanted it as much as they did in that first, like Xavier said, that start of the game, we looked like we were there and we knew what we were doing and we came out capitalizing
immediately.
And that, the whole second half, it was just significantly less of that. And I mean, that kind of really, that just comes down to, once again, we just can't, as a team that's deep, we can't just sit here and constantly put all this pressure on Shai to do as much as he can in the minutes on the court, because the second he steps off, someone's got to step up. And J-Dub was gone. Chet was gone. Our bench was playing defense at times, but the offense was just non-existent. I mean, there was nobody who was scoring, and Shai's got to come in, and Shai's got to drop 38 and end up losing. Like, that's not at all what this team should be doing. This team is so much better than that. So, I mean, J-Dub just had this last series with the Wolves where we were like taking everything back and talking about how great he played and everyone's giving on all this. And then game 1 of the finals, and he just completely collapses. Like, and honestly, I'm more upset with Chet than J-Dub. Like, J-Dub kind of came on in that fourth. That was the worst game I've seen from Chet in a really long time. His shot IQ was abysmal. He was taking hideous shots. I mean, and I've never seen him so afraid to dunk the ball, dude. Like, he's right next to the hoop. He's 7 feet tall. He's got a wingspan. He can reach the rim. He's just not dunking it. He's putting up these weak, I don't know what his deal was, what got in his head, but it's just the finals. It's his first finals appearance. He's young, and it was obvious. You can't have that again. He doesn't need to average 20, but that's just terrible. He makes one more shot, and we win the game. And he just was missing everything that should have been easy. So I'm not putting all the blame on him. But on the other hand, based off how this playoffs has gone, we can't rely on Dort to do what he did. Like, that was Dort's best game. We can't rely on that. We've not been able to rely on that the whole series. So we got to make up for that gap as well. We got to make up for the fact that they're going to probably play better than they did as well. I mean, Siakam was not hitting some of the shots he normally does. Nembhard didn't turn on until the second half. Like, there's adjustments that both teams are going to make. But to me, it's just going to come down to if our supporting cast is going to step up, because Shai's going to play good. We know that. Shai's going to do what he does. And 38 is, I mean, he was balling. Like, he missed some shots he shouldn't have. The game winner, or the big shot at the end, like that should have gone in, but we shouldn't have been there. That shouldn't be on him. He shouldn't be required to be the one that wins us every single game. So my big takeaway was just the aggression from Chet and J-Dub. It's got to go up. It absolutely has to. I mean, we talked about our centers playing such few minutes. Yeah, Mark should have had a center in at the end, but it wasn't dumb to not play Chet there for a while. Chet needed to sit on the bench. He needed to figure out what he was doing. But Hart was cooking.
Yeah.
Hart was out.
Hartenstein was a dog, and he should have been in when Chet was out. Like we said
he was cooking.
Like we said the other day, like, the whole point of only starting one big is so you could have at least one on the floor at all times. You know, like. And
if you didn't want one of those two in, why is J. Will not getting minutes?
Yeah,
where's J. Will, dog? Like,
we've
totally been just throwing him around. Like, he's like a secret weapon, except we forget we have him. Like, why do we just not use him?
Mitchell, though.
Like, don't even get me started on that, dog. That was ridiculous.
I like AJ Mitchell a lot, but this is
I do too.
Thing. Transition. All them turnovers that we forced them. First of all, they're one of the best teams at taking care of the ball. They turned the ball over. What did we force? 24 turnovers, right? 25.
Yeah, but 19 in the first half.
19 in the first half. Okay, so they cleaned it up in the second half, but 19 in the first half, and we barely had any points off of transition. My question to you guys is, are you guys concerned about our ability or inability to score in the half court when we need to? Because this team thrives off of making you make mistakes, turning the ball over, running in transition, getting dunks, maybe hitting the open three, getting to the line. What about when we need to score?
I'm not concerned. I'm not. Indiana's defense is just not that good, frankly. So while we didn't capitalize like we normally do, I just don't see that being an issue down the road. What's going to be the issue is obviously containing their offense. Their offense is incredible, but their defense just isn't good enough. It's not. And that's something that normally would have led to a 20-point lead if other guys stepped up, but they didn't. So on one hand, like all season long, we've watched this team capitalize in the transition, and we didn't capitalize in it this last game the way we normally do, and we only lost by 1. And that was without Chet playing good and J-Dub playing good. So if you're factoring all of that, and J-Dub and Chet play pretty solid, and our transition games playing the way it is, we blow them out like easily. So I'm not worried about it. I don't think their defense is like incredible at stopping us, but it was not good. I mean, that's a great point. 25 turnovers and just not capitalizing, like that's not OKC at all. That's just sloppy.
The thing for me is when you watch OKC lose a game, especially this season, which it hasn't been too often, like there's one game that Denver beat us, but mostly every game we lose, it's because, we beat ourselves. We're not making shots. We're making dumb errors on the coaching part. But yeah, I agree with Gabe. I want to lean this way. If Indiana does it again, well, then we have something else to talk about. But it's a very simple product of basketball that we've been playing all year. Shai's going to get his against Nembhard. Nembhard sauced him. He played, honestly, he played decent defense. I know Shai had 38, but it's just because they know each other so well. And Nembhard's got a little chip on his shoulder from, playing Team Canada. They've known each other since 9, whatever. But if J-Dub and Chet put up 15 points, that's a blowout. Like efficient points. So our half-court offense, it's going to be fine, especially with Hartenstein running that second group. They can't really stop that at all. As long as we make 1 to 2 more shots, we win that game completely. And then it comes down to, listen, if Indiana is going to go that fucking crazy, like if Nembhard's hitting tween, cross tween, side step back 3, you're probably not going to win. I'm sorry. But if guys like Andrew Nembhard are doing that, and he's a solid player out of Gonzaga, like he's always been a solid player, but if he's doing that with a minute left,
yeah, they're feeling it.
I'm sorry, we might be cooked. But I mean, if we just continue to play the same style of basketball, don't make the mistakes by taking Chet off the floor, even though, don't take both bigs off the floor. Yeah. That's playing right into their game. They want to play small. They want to run fast, especially when you have a lead with 2 minutes left. If you're taking all your bigs off the floor, you're speeding up the pace, giving them more chances to score, more chances to get out. So I think if we make the right adjustments, which we have all playoffs long, we should, just speaking on game 2 specifically, we should be able to win by at least double digits.
Yeah.
Again, if we only win by 5 or if we lose, then we got a different talking point here. But that's my take on it right now. That's my stance.
I want to hop back into the conversation. Joe, you mentioned, you feel like the Pacers will outcompete us in those closing minutes. I feel like
I don't think outcompete. I think they just execute better than anyone else in the NBA in these clutch moments.
Yeah, I mean, that's, we can't doubt that. They've had, amazing clutch moments. Tyrese is 5 for 5 right now on go-ahead buckets, whatever. I mean, I still feel like we can still, if we have a lead going in, we should be able to hold a lead in clutch moments. And I think that's going to be more key in terms of execution, executing on the half court. The other comment I wanted to ask you guys for going into game 2, I'm just curious, do you guys think Mark will go back to the double big after this loss, or do you think he's
I don't think so.
Let's let Joe go, since Joe's the one saying yes and Capers and I are saying no. Joe, why do you think he will?
I think the way Mark works is like, I don't know, right? So we all know that double big isn't the move in this series.
Yeah.
And we know, like, Xavier and I specifically were talking during the game about, like, what have we been saying? Hartenstein off the bench, he's killing these guys. Like, he's optimizing his minutes. He's not stuck in no man's land. He was killing them. But I think Mark's going to see how good he was and just shove him right back into the starting lineup. That's my opinion. I really hope it doesn't happen. But again, like, I was all for Kaysen starting, but if we're not going to be aggressive enough on the defensive end to not get switched on to Pascal Kaysen,
then
Kaysen can't really be there. because they were attacking Kaysen early in the post. Outside, Kaysen's a dog. But I'd rather low-key have Kaysen coming off the bench and guarding McConnell, and then obviously in bigger situations guarding, guys like Reese and Nemhard or whatever. But, like, I'm done with the McConnell scoring. McConnell's a great player, the little white guy, but he can't score against our guards. That's the thing. Like, against our guards, he can't score. We had Isaiah Joe on him in the first half, and we let up like 7 points. We had, like, Kaysen on him in the second half. He had maybe one bucket. Yeah. Like, he was not scoring. So, listen, if he does go back to double big, I'm not even mad at it. But if it's personally me, I'm starting Caruso because I could trust Caruso on Pascal more than I could trust Kaysen, even though Kaysen's a great defender. The dude's like 6'3", 6'4". So, yeah. And Caruso is not too tall either, but he's just
he's different. Yeah. No, so the reason I don't think it changes. What have we seen from Mark literally all season? It's this dying on a hill of just not changing a lineup. Like, he will literally die on the hill that we are rocking with this lineup, and OKC fans will complain that a change isn't getting made, but he's going to do it. So, like, on one hand, I get what Joe's saying, and I could see him being like, well, Hart played good, and we've been doing good all season, so let's just do it again. I could see him doing that. But the other part of me is like, Mark is stubborn. Mark's going to want to ride with he's not going to want to fold and immediately switch the lineup that he just threw out there. I think it's a very mental game for him. And to him, I believe he thinks that just because we lost the game, it has nothing to do with the starting lineup. So he's going to want to ride that. And I hope he does that, because I agree, Joe, I'd much rather see, I agree wholeheartedly. I was going to say as well, I'd love Caruso to get the start. I really would. Yeah. Caruso is honestly been in the top 3 of game changers this entire playoff series for us. I mean, he's changed so many games. He's won a series. Like, he's just been such a game changer. So, like, on one hand, you want that off the bench because it's a big boost off the bench. But on the other hand, like, I don't know. I'd like to see what happens if you do start him, because he was aggressive in game 1. He was driving, he was shooting, he was getting fouled. He was doing everything right and pushing the pace, and then doing the same shit on defense that he normally does. So, like, Caruso is an absolute dog. Like, I'd love to see him starting. I just don't think it will. I think he stays off the bench.
I think it's too obvious, right? I mean, you get a guy in Caruso, which, you love him off the bench. You love him, to come in off the bench, but then close the game probably, more likely than not. But it's obvious that the Kaysen thing didn't work out, and they took advantage of Pascal and Kaysen and switches. But with Caruso, you get a guy who's been shooting the ball well. And then you get a guy who could switch on to anybody. Yeah. So if they're running the pick and roll or running off screens, it could be switch. Caruso ends up on Siakam, big deal. Like, I think 40% of the time he's gonna, maybe 50% of the time he's gonna get the stop. Like, and then you got helpers with Lou. So I mean, my ideal game 2 lineup would just be the same lineup, but instead of Kaysen, it's Caruso, and I think that would make a huge difference, to be honest.
I agree completely.
I want to throw more thoughts into the conversation. One thing I'm noticing is Wiggins only getting 9 minutes is not enough. Should be getting at least bare minimum 15, if not 20 minutes. I mean, if we need offense, he's the go-to guy, and he should be in for more minutes, especially if Shai's out. Like, Shai's out, he's in. And that's kind of the way it played out. But even, like, if Shai or J-Dub is out, they've been alternating them. But if J-Dub's in the game, I feel like Wiggins should be there with him to support, because you need more offense with that lineup. The other thing that I'm looking at from a minutes perspective, Caruso had more minutes than Chet, so he practically was our 5th starter. The adjustment that I want Mark to make is we don't really need Joe. He's not providing threes. He's not providing defense. He played 11 minutes. We can supplement those minutes and maybe increase Hartenstein's minutes a lot as well. And Chet should be getting bare minimum 30 minutes a game in the finals. Like, if I see another less than 30, I may have to fly to OKC myself and talk to Mark, because it cannot. I legit may go on a crazy rant if that happens in game 2, because we will not win game 2 without Chet Holmgren playing heavy minutes. I think the one thing I wanted to mention about the starting lineup being changed in game 1, I feel like the person that threw off the most was clearly Chet. He hasn't been used to having to guard the big mans, and I'm not gonna lie, he totally got bully balled by Miles Turner. I mean, Miles Turner ended up with 15 points at some big shots, but also he out rebounded. It was just more physical, and I feel like when Hartenstein's in, that responsibility for Chet to just be a help side defender is more impactful than he is, just being the guy that has to be like a traditional big. I guess I do agree with the adjustment of maybe not having Cason Wallace in because his size is so limiting. So it's hard for Chet to always help. He got early foul trouble in this game too. That also kind of hindered his. I've noticed like if Chet gets early foul trouble, he kind of, I don't want to say checks out or anything, but like offensively, he doesn't remain consistent for the rest of the game. And so I would like to see, someone bigger entering the lineup. I honestly wouldn't mind a guy like Wiggins. He brings the offense. He's a solid defender. Keep Caruso coming off the bench, because the reason I'm mentioning Caruso off the bench, he's better against bench units. He's not the same player against starters. And He's also just an energizing guy. Like you need him in the end of quarters, and that's when we usually win those quarters. And you need his energy for that. Compared to like starting the game, it's usually back and forth anyways. You don't need him having older legs.
But that's where you win it. That's where you win the games. You don't want to go back and forth. I know what you're saying. Every NBA game's the same. We're going to run up the floor, score a couple baskets. The other team's we're going to get through get to the game flow. Caruso in the starting lineup, that doesn't happen. It's just game over at that point, right? I mean, especially if he hits 2 threes, wide open threes, because he's going to be wide open. He was wide open in game 1, and then he gets some stops. You're saying he's not the same against first units, maybe offensively. Defensively, he's been guarding the best player on the floor the whole playoffs. So
yeah. I mean more offensively. Like if we need to keep a similar offensive punch, and obviously a steeper decline with Wiggins in, it's just an example. Like even Jay Will entering the starting lineup, providing spacing, defense, whatever, just some size. I think having that extra size helps Chet not have to be the guy that has to bang down low. I'm not saying he's a guy that gets totally eaten up by centers. He's like one of the top 5 shot blocking centers in the league. Like no one believes me when I say that statement, but he is. He's one of the best at altering shots as well. But it benefits him more when there's someone else there and he comes in for the support blocks. That's been more of his primary game. And that's why the starting lineup has been more effective with Chet, because when he gets a couple of blocks and he's involved in the game, he's more likely to run up the court. You know how it is with the big men. Like they don't get set plays for them. So, when you get a couple blocks here and there, or you make adjustments like that, like you get excited to run up and dunk it and stuff. And in that game, it felt like he got outplayed down low because he had to bang down low with Pascal and have to guard Miles. Then he was getting annoyed with that, and he's getting in foul trouble. And he's like, okay, maybe I won't run it down the court because I'm not going to get the ball anyways, right? So I understand his frustration. So there has to be an adjustment made where it's like, how can we keep Chet involved in the offense? Because I feel like he got totally. Yeah, I mean, Caruso can be the guy, Wiggins can be the guy. It's about the same old, but like maybe starting Cason, not saying that Cason's not a starting level guy on a team. He certainly is. Absolutely. But in this series with the matchups, they just have really big wings and size in general. Like most of their players are not, too short. So they hunt mismatches as well, just like we do. And
yeah, they do.
They definitely do. So hopefully we can see some sort of adjustment like that.
Yeah,
I don't mind the starting lineup, bro. I don't mind starting Wallace. It doesn't matter. Just like you said, like I think we're just thinking about certain stuff too much a little bit. Like you said, we had 24 turnovers. We played as good as we did, blah, 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 and we still lost by 1 point. Yeah. So I don't think we need to just make, oh, my God, we lost game 1. We need to make dramatic changes. The lineup is fine. I just think I agree with Satvir. Just increase other players' minutes instead of making the lineup as deep as he made it. What did he play, 11 first half guys?
Yeah. Way too many. He needs to get rid of the Kenrich, AJ.
Way too many.
and limit some of Joe's minutes,
Like
give
12.
him to Wiggins
12.
and Hartenstein,
Wow.
and we easily win that game, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah.
I
Shorten the
actually
rotation.
disagree.
We have the better players across the board. Like if you line them up one by one, I'm taking all of our guys over them. Maybe the exception of like Pascal Siakam because he's a champion.
Yeah.
Maybe, but we have an all NBA defensive all-star like with J-Dub. So it's like kind of a wash in that sense. Because Pascal's not playing crazy good anyways against J-Dub, in my opinion. J-Dub's got him fully on lock. So everywhere else, like we're beating them. If we shorten the rotation, we win the minutes more offensively. I feel like it's a simple task. The other thing I want to mention is the assists are down right now across the board. Hartenstein's not assisting, 0 assists. Chet's not assisting. Dort, he's pretty much a glorified 3-and-D guy right now. J-Dub tried to assist, but he also got a bunch of field goals off. I think someone else has to take the role and have some game awareness, man. That's the thing about this team, the lack of awareness of the game and the style that it's
this guy. It's this guy. It's the guy who wears the
no,
headband.
dude. All right, Joe.
Bright.
Listen. All right, I'm not gonna let you keep going about Caruso like he's Michael Jordan. All right, like Caruso's great at defense, but he's not an assist guy. All right, he's solid. He'll get you some spot buckets here and there against bench guys. Like he's solid for that, and he's great on defense. I'm talking about assists, man. So like the guys we need to see step up on the assist column is Hartenstein. And Kaysen tried to do some playmaking, but he only got 1 assist, and that was the lob to J-Dub. Otherwise, very quiet for a guy that was having primary ball handling capabilities. And then the other guy, Shai, 3 assists is not enough. I get it. You're getting 38 points. Get your points down to like 32, 30, and have some more assists because you're getting triple teamed. Like, yeah, obviously that relies on us hitting shots, but we need more assists in this game. And that's why the addition of J-Will would be huge because he's not really looking to score. We need someone facilitating offense. We don't have that. And Capers, I know you're getting on AJ Mitchell, but the one thing that kid can do is he can facilitate and he can get passes off. He may not be a great scorer. He's not polished on defense right now. He's a rookie, whatever.
Exactly.
But the one thing that guy can do is play make. And Mark noted,
bro,
listen. We're getting outplayed on the playmaking side of this game. And if that continues on for the rest of this series, we will lose this series. That's the only caveat in which I say we lose this series. If they continue to keep more playmakers around Tyrese, because Tyrese by himself, we can defend him. But when you add Nembhard, Mathurin, and TJ around him, the ball security gets too much for us, and we're not going to turn them over. Right. I'm telling you guys, we need to add our own ball security with a guy like J-Will inserted with maybe Shai, where it's someone else setting up the offense and getting it flowing. Usually it's Hartenstein, and Hartenstein is looking to get buckets right now, and I'm like confused, whereas he's usually typically like the guy in the middle of the paint getting assists. He's going to his floater a little bit, I don't mind it, but he needs to start looking to assist. If you're only going to score 9 points or he got 9 rebounds and 9 points, if that's all you're really going to give in terms of not taking that many field goals anyways, get some assists, man. And that's what we need. There's not many players on our team that play make, so we need that.
I know. Yeah.
I mean, I just think having Caruso on the floor opens up the floor and it creates more opportunity for playmaking. I think if you have more 3-point shooting on the floor, more drives to the rim, Shai's assists go up. Shai had to shoot that many times because nobody was making shots outside of Alex and outside of Hartenstein, but he's not a shooter. So if you get Alex on the floor more, especially in the starting rotation, spacing goes up, driving goes up, kicks go up, pick and roll assists go up, everything goes up. It's just I understand what you're looking for, more of a playmaker on the floor. But I just think it's all of these guys on the floor for us are playmakers. We just got to get the right spacing down and the right game plan to go out there and get to the rim, because then their assists come. That's really
Isn't that going to hinder your bench, though, if you start him?
Not when you have the deepest team in the NBA. I mean, you have so many guys you can throw off the bench.
He does off of the bench,
I mean,
though.
yeah, it hinders it a bit, but when you have such a deep bench,
Caruso's not the guy to come off the bench and give you 20. He comes off the bench. That's not what I'm asking.
I mean, that's not what I'm saying. I mean,
and gives you defense and steals and aggressiveness. If you just put him in the starting lineup, it's the same exact play. It's just in the starting lineup.
Mm-hmm.
For me personally, if you're putting Caruso in, and even if you aren't, I disagree with the Wiggins minutes. I think what OKC needs to do is just slow the game down and play their style of basketball, which is fast-paced when you get off steal, but offensively slow down. Don't let Indiana rush. So you take offensive guys out. You take Joe out. You take Wiggins out. You take out guys that could be mismatched because Indiana's hunted the mismatch all playoff long. They've hunted Jalen Brunson. They've hunted Cat. They've hunted Cleveland's guards. And they'll waste 24 seconds of the shot clock just to find the guy and then go. So you want to increase Caruso's minutes, increase Hartenstein, lower Isaiah, lower Wiggins. And, yeah, like you guys said, probably increase J. Will. There should only be like 3 or 4 guys coming off the bench. And if it's the same starting lineup, it's Caruso, Hartenstein. And for me, it's J. Will, and if there is a fourth one, it's Kenny. It's not Joe. It's not Wiggins. It's not Mitchell. I think it's about playing the best defense we can, slowing them down, because we're going to score. We're going to score. We had a bad shooting night, whatever. We're going to score. If Dort looks good, J-Dub shot like shit, Shai's going to do his thing, Kayson's going to he's not going to go 0 for 3 every game. Chet's not going to go 0 for 1. I hope Mark and them put him in better situations to score. If you just have Caruso and Hartenstein playing huge minutes, we're going to dominate. Now it's up to the guys to be able to play the minutes and not gas out after 35 minutes a night. But it's the NBA Finals, bro. You put in your best. No more of this AJ shit. I love AJ. I think he's going to be great for us down the line. Not now. No AJ, no Isaiah Joe. He's done nothing but be a mismatch on defense for us all playoff long when he's in. And when he's in, he comes in for like 8 minutes and shoots a 3. And hopefully he makes it. There's no productivity there. There's no reason to have him in. No Wiggins. Wiggins has shot like shit, and they've been attacking him on defense. So just play your best guys. Throw in J. Will. Throw in Kenny if you need to off the bench. And just fucking dominate. This team should be dominating this team. I'm not going to live in a world where OKC loses to the Pacers in the finals. I'm just not. I'm not. And if they don't make the adjustment, they might.
I think as the series goes on, at some point, the rotation's got to get shortened. Like, it's the finals, like you're saying. The bench matters up until a point when you need to, keep your guys healthy and, keep them for a long run. We've done that. We've rested as much as we can from a starter's perspective to the point where we're all like, why aren't these guys playing as many minutes as they should, right? And that's like the opposite of the Knicks. We are to the point where, we're the more rested team, I feel like, compared to this Pacers team. Just from like a starting lineup perspective, we haven't had to gas our guys as much because we played such a deep lineup up until this point. This is the point where you let them gas out, win the series, get it over with, and go home. Like get to the parade, right? Yeah. So I agree, Joe. I agree. Shorten the lineup. I don't know about. I don't really mind if it's Kenny or Wiggins. It can be either of those guys, but definitely addition of J. Will would be awesome. I'm curious why he hasn't been getting minutes recently. I don't know if anything's up. I haven't seen any reporting around it. I've tried to figure out what's going on, why he's not getting minutes. Maybe I'll ask around, but would love to see him.
In this series especially, I prefer J. Will and Kenrich Williams, which I have full confidence in. People outside of the OKC Thunder fan base are like, who? What are you talking about? You're going to put those guys in? Yeah, no, I have full confidence in Kenny to go get a stop and make a midi or a 3. I have full confidence in J. Will to get that top of the arc 3 and play defense. He stopped Jokic as well as he could. And then if you have a guy in Hartenstein who's coming off the bench now, he's only getting 17 minutes, but he put up 9 points and 9 rebounds in 17 minutes. Why are we not raising those minutes? Why is he off the floor? Mark just fed them the win. And I think if he just adjusts to wait, all right, let's increase Russo's minutes, Hartenstein's minutes. Let's have a big on the floor at all times. And even if he doesn't throw in Kenny and J. Will, whatever, we should fucking dominate this team. Yeah. You saw it right when Chet went off.
Yeah.
Offensive rebound, put back, foul, for Siakam, and then he gets one free throw, the lane violation, another. Like, you got to have one big. Siakam's going to get 10 boards a game no matter what. He's big as hell. He's long as hell, pause. And then Turner, I'm not too worried about, but you got to have one on the floor at all times, bro.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's not
the thing that bothers me too is a big reason that we obviously are going with Chet is so that we're not expecting Hart to be able to guard Miles Turner out on the 3-point line. Turner still hit 2 of his 5 threes. Like, it didn't make a difference. Turner still got his shots. Like, it's I understand Chet's lengthier. Chet can move a bit quicker than Hart, but like at that point in the end of the game, that's not what we're worried about. Like, that's not going to be this big of a problem. You need to put a big man out there. Like, it's the most common.
If Miles Turner beats us,
big man out.
Yeah, if Miles Turner beats us, hats off to the Pacers team.
Exactly. Like,
he's never proven to be a high volume guy. Like,
exactly.
He's low volume, 3-point, efficient, cool. I'm cool with living with him taking whack freaking off the bank fadeaway shots or whatever. Yeah, like I'm cool with that. I'd live with that all day. Also, I want them more and more in isolation. I'm so sick and tired of the play style being so different, where we're now the heliocentric team versus they're the pass first team versus we've been the pass first team, and the other teams have been built around Anthony Edwards, Jokic, Ja Morant, where we've dominated them in that way. And now we're completely switching our play style. It makes no sense in the finals.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
Just to finish this game 1 talk, and then we could talk about maybe predictions for game 2 or something.
Yeah, cool.
We lost the game by 1, and we've went over all the stupid things that we've done and the things that happened in the game to, we're saying we should have won that game and we lost it, right? We know that Indiana's done this multiple times, blah, 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 but we're better than every team that Indiana's done it to, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I'm wrong here, you guys could come roast the fuck out of me after game 2. Obi Toppin is not going 5 from 8 from 3 off the bench. He's not.
He might.
7.
No,
he might. He might. He might.
Last series, he was like 2 for 17.
We said PJ Washington wasn't going to keep hitting 8 threes.
PJ Washington is a better player than Obi Toppin.
Yeah, it's always somebody against us,
dude. No.
But anyway, finishing my statement.
No.
We lost the game by 1, and Obi had 17, 5, and 2, bro.
Yeah. That's as good as he could have played.
You got to be all right.
He might.
The one guy that I do see getting hot for the Pacers perspective, I think he had 0 points, was Mathurin. He's a really good player. He's a great offensive piece for them. Really confused why he played the way he did. I'm looking at, he got 15 minutes, only 5 points or whatever. I feel like he can play a lot better. I'm looking at who's the other person. I mean, really, they don't have much, man. It's not much to stop. Like, another guy that can kind of get off from 3 is Naismith if he starts hitting them, but he's kind of more of a streaky guy where he'll hit a bunch and then go for a cold streak. So
and he still played good, and we handled it. Like, he had 10 and 12 and hit 3 threes. So it's not like he was trash. Like, if this is the best he's got, then that's not too, like,
we just got to keep it big on the floor at all times. Their rebounding numbers were ridiculous. 10 for Haliburton, 10 for
Haliburton. You can't get out rebounded. You can't get out rebounded by this margin and expect to win a series. I can tell you that right now. Boards win championships. Boardmen get paid. That statement is the biggest truth of basketball. Like, boards means you're getting possessions. We out-possess them with the turnovers, but they brought that deficit closer or close enough with the boards. And that's usually how it's been with OKC. But, if you increase the minutes of the Chet and Hartenstein, I'm confused why we want to go. Why do we want to go small against a team that wants to push pace? I will question Mark on that if that happens. If there's a deep bench unit and he decides to go small in a clutch moment, like, I don't understand that all. That favors Indiana, and that's the reason they got back into it, and then they got rolling because they're like, oh, we don't see a center down there. Oh, we're just gonna continue to have TJ McConnell just doing laps around us and finding open shooters, and then Tyrese was like, oh, that's working. Let me try that. Like, bro, are you watching the game? Like, making a dang adjustment, man.
Last point before predictions. Capers, you said you don't mind Casey being in the starting lineup. I love Casey Wallace as much as the next guy, minus 13 in the first game because they were attacking him every time in that pick and roll with Siakam. Minus the biggest plus minus or the lowest plus minus on the team by a wide margin. I don't think it could be there. Off the bench, outstanding. Go put him on McConnell, but not in the starting lineup.
It'll be interesting to see.
He also needs to get his minutes a little bit limited as well. 33 minutes for Cason Wallace. I know we need the playmaking, but he didn't provide it. So it's like if you're out there and you're supposed to be added for the additional playmaking to help J-Dub and Shai, and you don't do that, then what's your purpose on the floor? Like you have to have one thing offensively that you're doing really well. If it's not spotting up in the corner, okay, cool. Now we want to turn him into a ball handler in the finals for the first game, and that clearly didn't work. Like that's where we're saying maybe there's a different change that can be made from a playmaking perspective. Like we need offense, and we're not getting it right now. Let's go ahead and move to predictions.
Yeah. Gabe, go ahead.
Okay. Like we've mentioned several times now, this game was ours to win. Things didn't quite go our way in the ways we needed them to. We didn't execute. Substitutions were off, and we still only lose by one. Adding on to that, like Joe pointed out a little bit ago, Obi Toppin hitting 5 threes is just absurd. I don't know the exact number, but I believe he was like 2 for 17 in the last series. He is not a 3-point shooter. You can leave him open. He's not hitting those again. So I don't see any world where we don't win this next game by a minimum of 15. I see this being a blowout. I really do. I think we bounce back. How many times have we talked in this podcast about how good this team is at bouncing back after a loss? Lost by 40 points, and came back and won the next game. So I don't see a world where this team doesn't pull off a win. If we do lose this, it's time to panic because I don't like saying that, but it is. Everything's on the line. So, I see Shai getting it done. I got to see Chet shoot more than 1 3. I got to see him get more involved. He's got to be more aggressive. We got to get him better looks. Everything's just got to come down to executing better at the end of the game. So I think we win this one pretty easily.
Capers?
I think it's going to be the same lineup. I think the game's going to go the same. I think we'll win by 10 plus this time, though. Like at least 10. So borderline the spread. I think the spread's 11. So I guess you could just bump it up. Like I'll say like 10 plus. We're hitting shots. We're playing good D. This game is really important for everybody at home watching. You go down 0-2 when you have home court. I don't think anybody's come back from that in the finals history when they have home court. So I fully expect us to win. I think that Mark's not going to get – I don't think Mark's going to panic, although I would like him to shorten the rotation. I think everything's going to be about the same, and we'll win this game. We'll head to Indy 1-1.
Sabir?
It's a must win. When you're down 0-1 and you're the home team, every game after the first game that you lose is a must win because next game will be 1-1. After that, if we don't split in Indiana or at least get one of the two, we're down 3-1. That's a must win as well. So it's like it's going to be must win after must win. So no other choice. And I feel like the guys should probably understand like there is no other choice here. Everyone's got to play at the top of their powers. They got to make some adjustments overall, but it's like small tweaks like, hey, adjust a couple minutes here, or hey, insert a couple more plays where we're doing a little bit more set plays. I feel like we didn't do as much set plays in this. Mark didn't call out as many plays as he normally does. I was kind of confused by that. So it was a lot of Shai in isolation, and I hope to see a change in that strategy. Like, best believe, dude, honestly, Shai can go for 50 against this team easily. Like, easily. If he hits a couple more shots, he's at 50. That's not what we need from him to win this series. I know it's asking a lot to get like 30 and 8, but he's going to need to average more assists in this. Like in the rest of the previous series, he's been averaging close to 7-8 assists, and he needs to get back to doing that, because if he's not doing that, I don't see where the playmaking's coming from, and I don't see Jay Will probably entering the game next game either. Like, obviously, that's our wish, but I don't see it happening. So it's like, come on. It's got to come from somewhere.
Yep. For me, what did Mike Tyson say before he got beat up by Jake Paul? Vicious win. I think we're gonna fucking destroy these guys. We got to remind ourselves, right? I was just watching, the guys all still looking high spirits, real super confident, really locked in. Got to remind ourselves who the hell we are and who the hell the Pacers are, right? Pacers are playing better than anyone in the Eastern Conference since January 1st. Blah blah blah. Don't give a fuck. We're the best team in the league, and we're one of the best teams in a long time. We're gonna come out and dominate these guys, and we're gonna take the series to Indiana, and we'll see what happens from there. But tomorrow, it won't be close. It's going to be disgusting. I'm saying at least 18-20 plus. I think we run them out of the building super easily tomorrow. But one last segment for me, and if you guys want to comment, feel free to do so. Something that really pissed me off in the NBA community. I think the game's the best it's been in a little while. Talent-wise, team camaraderie-wise, just everything about it. The style of basketball has been pretty good. And this was the lowest rated or viewed Game 1 NBA Finals since like 1988 or something.
Yeah.
Mind you, I'm on the opposite side of history here, but that was probably one of the better games I've seen in a while, especially with Indiana coming back and hitting Haliburton hitting the shot like he does.
Yeah.
That was probably one of the better NBA Finals games I've seen in a while. You can tell me one game from last year's NBA Finals with Dallas getting their ass beat every single game had more viewers than this? Like, are we just watching like to say we watch, or do we like watching basketball? Because if you enjoy watching basketball, like the guys on this panel right here do, and love your team, that was grade A, good ass basketball to watch.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
For the people that are not viewers, that are not Pacers fans or Thunder fans, it's kind of confusing that you want to watch the same old guys go to the finals and see the same thing over and over. Like, we're getting fresh finals for the past 7 seasons. And on top of that, the game of basketball has evolved to like where it's honestly a more offensive game. It's tailored to what people want to see. They're even letting more physical defense be played. I feel like it's at the most balanced it's been probably, since back in the day. So this is the best style of basketball. I think the main thing that, Joe, to your comment about it being low rated, if ESPN and the NBA are going to push LeBron for the, 20 seasons plus Steph Curry, and the first season you find out about Shai as a casual fan is this season when he wins MVP, when he's been averaging 30, most drives in the league. And then you have on the opposite side, Tyrese Haliburton, who's a budding star over in Pacers, took the series last season pretty deep, deep run then too. So it's like you knew what these teams were and what they were capable of. It's just, I feel like the marketing has been bad and they've rushed the marketing to where it's so forced. And that's why people hate us. They hate us because it's like all they see is Shai on their screens so much because they know they messed up and they know the ratings are going to be low. And I feel like the ratings are probably going to be low for the next 2 to 3 seasons as LeBron is entering, his, wrapping up his career. Steph Curry's close to wrapping up his career. We've got most of the legends leaving, and Tatum, Shai, and the other guys are not, being put in the right light that they need to. And I feel like they're doing it now, but it feels a little too late. You're supposed to do this 5-6 seasons ago, like you're supposed to have this ready by now. But I wanted to mention about the game for my prediction. I feel like it'll be the same style game that we had today. The game 1. I think the only difference is going to be we're going to out execute them. Instead of them going on a run, we'll take the timely timeouts. We'll hit our timely shots. We'll keep the lead around 5 to 8 points, and that's the way we're going to have to win most of these games. I don't see these games being 15 plus blowouts. The Pacers just don't give that vibe off, and they have not shot poorly enough for me to believe they'll be out of any game. So they'll all be 10-point close games. And for me, that's a close game in the NBA now. Like 10 points is close with the type of offense. And it's just withstanding their run with enough small defensive stops. It's going to be on the edges, right? It's like a couple shots here and there that are going to make the series. And that's the scariest part about, we haven't been in a series like this all playoffs. All our games that we've won, only 2 games this whole run for the OKC Thunder have been within like 2 points, right? The rest of the games, we've been absolutely terrorizing teams. So to be in a close series like this is definitely eye-opening for Thunder fans.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I think you guys covered that one well.
Last thing for me about the ratings. NBA's kind of fallen off the blah, blah, blah. I don't really care what fans like. If you enjoy basketball, watch the games. This is high-level basketball. But you mentioned ESPN. Yeah, ESPN kind of shit. They're shitting the bed on everything. They're losing viewership themselves. So people are outside saying, why would I watch something on ESPN when I fucking hate ESPN? So that they're going in a direction where I'm just like, okay.
They're analysts from Doris Burke to Kendrick Perkins, you name it. Like the Morris twins, horrible analysis because everything is biased from them. It's either too OKC centric or too whatever they were as players. They're holding that. And I love having players, but they're not the best analysts. You need to have true young analyst regime enter that realm. We need guys like Kenny. He's doing great work for the NBA. We need a younger crowd because honestly, most of the people that are watching the NBA are younger people, right? So we don't agree with a lot of their takes. They're just so bad. They're closer to Centel than they are to Central.
and they're throwing NBA players on the fucking panel who were horrible.
Yeah.
And I get it. A lot of the terrible guys, some of them could be good at their job outside of basketball, which is, being an analyst for ESPN, being a talk person for ESPN, but they're just pulling I'm not going to get into it that much. They're just pulling shit out of their ass at this point. It's fucking awful.
But what about the promotion though? There's no finals logo on the court. It doesn't say NBA finals on the court.
Capers, they have a fucking
on the back of your jersey.
Capers, they have a trophy in the middle of the fucking in-season tournament.
Yeah, they go all out for that.
Why can't you put it in the
because the Lakers were playing.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, they go all out for that. And then if you look at the scoreboard, you just see on the bottom middle, it says the finals, but it's like this small.
YouTube TV, everywhere. Like,
what happened to position, man? Like, I don't know.
The other thing is,
I don't know.
The other point I was going to make about that is like right now, ESPN is not even covering the finals. Like they have one little coverage of like 10 minutes, and then they have talks about Kevin Durant going where, whoever's going where. It's like they're already in off-season mode because they're so uninterested with our, small market teams. And it's like if you continue down that,
they have Adam Silver hop on the show and explain why he chose these two teams to be in the finals.
Yeah. I feel like if you continue down this path, like from a ESPN coverage, that's where I'm really excited about Amazon entering the mix. They'll make it competitive. They're going to have better analysts, probably younger analysts, different analysts. And I feel like that'll mix up things. NBC is going to be back with coverage as well. So hopefully that
they got Michael Jordan coming.
I hope just having other like more competition against ESPN. ESPN is monopolizing because if you're a decent creator or they think you can get clicks, they're going to hire you. And I feel like there should be a difference between, hey, do we want views and clicks or do we want, to attract a fan base? And that's going to be the steady decline of the NBA over the next couple of years if they don't figure that out. And just how it is.
For sure.
Gabe, take it away.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're not thrilled by game one, but there's no reason to not look ahead at game two thinking that our team's going to bounce back. We've been loyal fans throughout every single game, win or lose. We're going to keep that up. You guys know that. But big game, must win. We'll see you guys after that one. Hopefully we will be here in good spirits. Joe, I think you wanted to mention something though before we head out here.
Yeah. Capers. Thunder up, baby, let's go!